game day for Rutgers basketball. Huge opportunity Wednesday night at the Rack, 8:30 tip on BTN Live. Jason Horowitz and Sean Morris on the call for BTN. And Rutgers hosting Penn State. They've beaten the Nittany Lions 3 games in a row, and they come into the game losing 5 of 7. Rutgers, as we know, is currently they're not technically in last place in the Big Ten because Michigan now is 2-8. Rutgers is 2-6. They played the least amount of conference games of anyone, but they've played the most difficult schedule so far, per Ken Pom and also Bart Torvik. And I do think that that's been partly why they've struggled. Now, we know offensively they have been very, very poor in terms of shooting the basketball. They've done a much better job of rebounding lately and taking advantage of offensive rebounds and getting them and then taking advantage of them with second chance points. But the shooting has really struggled. The saving grace of this team has been the defense. And I still think there's room for improvement there. But I know that I'm just going to say, tonight is the opportunity to start a real run for this team to get back into the mix, to finish in the middle of the pack of this conference. I think the opportunity, the path is there. It's not me saying this in blind faith and ridiculous optimism. I think that there's certain things based on the defensive identity of this team, based on their ability to rebound, for the most part in this conference has been very encouraging after a very poor effort non-conference wise. They're a much better rebounding team right now. Part of that is the play of Mawat Mag being there. But overall, I think everyone is doing a better job on the court. I think the fact that you're seeing signs of an offensive identity in terms of them sharing the basketball. I'm encouraged by some of the players that are kind of stepping up and playing with more confidence. And obviously the product of the schedule, right? In terms of who they have left now, who they've played. And just in terms of, I think, Peichel's ability to keep this roster together. And I think that has been evident. I think that, you're coming off of Sunday's game against Purdue. It was a tough loss. It was a really strong effort by Rutgers. They obviously did not execute well enough to win. They need to be able to package that up and deliver a strong performance tonight. This is a battle of worst offense versus worst defense in the Big Ten. Rutgers having the least efficient offense, Penn State having the least efficient defense. Penn State has some injury issues. Let's get into what Penn State is right now. Their best player, Kanye Clary, leads them in scoring 18.4 points and shooting, 47%, 82%, 83% from the foul line, almost 38% from three. He is a high volume guard that is a problem, and he's day to day. He left the game the other night, and head coach Mike Rhodes listed him as day to day. He said, leave it at that. Seems like it's more than day to day, but he obviously could play today. If he does play today, I think it's fair to probably think that he's not 100%. He'll probably be listed as questionable on the injury report or the availability report. But he could play. But at any rate, he's not going to be 100%. And Nick Kern Jr. is going to play. He was going through some stuff as well. So a little bit of health issues with them. East Baldwin Jr. is the transfer from Vanderbilt. He came with he's a good player. He's been their second leading scorer. He's their top assist man. He's their point guard. But Penn State overall, in terms of their resume, their best win was at home against Wisconsin, who's in first place in the Big Ten. That was a huge win. They come from behind there. They won by 4. But on the road, in conference play, they're 0-4 with an average margin of defeat over 16 points per game. So they lost in overtime against Maryland in December, back when Maryland was not playing very well. They got blown out at Michigan State, lost by 31. They lost by 17 at Purdue, and they lost by 12 at Ohio State. They just lost at home to Minnesota by 9 points this past Saturday. So this is a real opportunity. In terms of their offensive and defensive efficiency, they're in the sub 100 in both. Nationally, they are very good at not turning the ball over. So that's obviously going to be a matchup there. Rutgers is very good at turning teams over. On the flip side, Penn State is also very good at turning teams over. They're 45th nationally in terms of offensive turnover rate, so they don't give it up much, and they're 21st nationally in defensive turnover rate in terms of turning teams over. They are not a good rebounding team whatsoever on either end of the floor in terms of grabbing offensive rebounds and also preventing and getting defensive rebounds and keeping teams off the offensive glass. Major opportunity for Rutgers to take advantage of that. They've really, that's how they stayed in the Purdue game. They had a 15-2 edge in second chance points. Now, in terms of having an offensive rebounding edge, I think it was 15-5 in that game. That is a product of missed shots, right? And I meant to say this in my recap, and I didn't. My rapid reaction, whatever it was. They got 19 more shots than Purdue in that game. Purdue doesn't win that game if they don't shoot as accurate as they did. They shot pretty much 50%. It was like 49%. Limiting them to that few shots, it's a credit to Purdue for being as efficient as they were. But that is a positive sign for Rutgers. If they can limit teams to one-shot possessions and force them to have to be highly efficient to score, that's going to be a positive now that you go into this more manageable part of the schedule the rest of the way. That's something that they have to keep up. If they can do that against Purdue, that's a big takeaway. If they can do that tonight, they can limit Penn State to one-shot possessions, keep them off the offensive glass, get on the offensive glass on the other end. That's going to be a huge advantage. Obviously, they can't turn the ball over. Penn State presses as well. So both teams are going to press in this game, I would imagine. That's going to be interesting. They say the old adage is teams that like to press don't like to be pressed themselves. So guard play, it's no secret. Guard play is going to be big in this game. I think, Derek Simpson, this is a game Rutgers needs him to be, A-grade Derek Simpson. The way he was against Nebraska, he was phenomenal. He's just been inconsistent, and that's just the truth. And if he can play with confidence tonight, if he can play with purpose, if he could be a facilitator, that's what they need. In terms of the bench, Jamichael Davis, Noah Fernandez, they need to provide energy. They need to play with focus. I think they both have the ability to drive in this game. Derek Simpson as well. Penn State is not good with two-point defense. They are allowing opponents, to shoot 53.2% two-point range. That's 289th nationally. They have a very low block rate as well, 243rd nationally. They have Qudus Wahab inside. Other than that, they don't have much of a post presence, a rim defender. If they can get him into foul trouble, they can get him off the floor. Penn State is very vulnerable inside. Rutgers, we know, has not been proficient from two-point range at all. They're shooting very poorly from two-point range. Rutgers is shooting just 43.6% from two-point range, 351st nationally. They're last in the Big Ten, shooting 39.7% from two-point range. This is a game where that should improve. They have to be smart. This is a game, Penn State, let's see, they allow, in terms of assists, they're 240th nationally in terms of assists, 321st nationally. Teams are getting assists on 57% of their made baskets. That's, a lot. So Rutgers has to share the basketball. Ball reversals, penetration, kickouts, looking for Cliff in space, the high ball screen. I was encouraged by how much they were screening off the ball, particularly for Gavin against Purdue. I want to see Gavin be aggressive again, and I think you will, because I think that Rutgers is making it a priority. I think Peichel is making it a priority to get Gavin involved offensively, and you got to get your shooters involved early. Rutgers has struggled massively out of the gate, and I think part of it is shot selection, and they just have to show more patience in the beginning of games. I think they get a little amped up. It's helped them, I think, a little bit on the defensive end, but I think they have to play within themselves, and they have to execute the game plan from the opening tip. They need to attack Penn State strategically. I think, if they can move the basketball, move without the basketball, and find gaps to attack the rim, they can get good shots. They got to make them, of course, but they can't settle for long twos. They can't settle for just kind of forced threes in this game. Threes within the flow of the offense, fine, take them. But this is, in terms of how Noah can get, mid-range shots and get to the rim, the way JaMychal Davis is able to get to the rim, those guys need to get to the rim in this game. Penn State fouls a lot as well. So this is a game Rutgers has to get to the foul line, and they have to take advantage. You have to get your free throw shooters to the line. You got to get Andre Hyatt, Derek Simpson, Noah Fernandez to the foul line. You can take advantage of that in this game. There's a clear path to victory in this game. Rutgers has to be poised, of course, and stay within themselves. I think that in terms of what this game presents for them is an opportunity to get right. I think one X factor here, Peichel has talked about it for a while now, about Emmanuel Igbol and Jeremiah Williams potentially getting cleared in terms of just their availability. He's been saying it for a while. He's kind of back. He hasn't said too much in the last week. I haven't been particularly optimistic. I think it's clear Igbol will be cleared or be ready to go. He's suited up and been in warm-ups the last few games. So, listen, if he could play a little bit, that could be a little bit of a lift. Jeremiah Williams is an unknown, but, who knows? If he's able to play, that would be a huge emotional lift for this team and also on the court. So I think I'm impressed with how this team is stuck together and the effort they've played with. And I think now that they've gotten through the hard part of the schedule, tonight is an opportunity to go out there and just play. And if they can play to their, not even to their best, but if they can just play together, stay connected, give the effort they're capable of giving, they're going to win this game. They're projected to win by 5 by Ken Palm. They are 68%, 68% expected to win this game. Let's see what else Penn State does well. They shoot relatively well from 2-point range. Not great, but not terrible. 51.8%, 121st nationally. They're not a good 3-point shooting team, just 31%, almost 300th nationally. I said they're not a good rebounding team. Just in terms of where they are conference-wise, Penn State is 10th offensively. Rutgers is 14th in terms of defense. Rutgers is 4th. Penn State is now they're 12th after last night, but they have the highest turnover rate in terms of defense. So they're forcing turnovers. So if Rutgers can limit turnovers, limit them to one-shot possessions, despite their inefficiency on the offensive end, their ability to get to the line, their ability to rebound and get second chance opportunities on offensive rebounds, they're going to be in position to win this game. And their ability to hit free throws down the stretch with Hyatt, Fernandez, and Simpson is going to be an advantage. I really think that, the maturity of this team is going to have to show out tonight. The leadership of this team is going to have to show out tonight. And this is a moment. This is really a must-win for them. If they want to get off the mat, if they want to really make this season something, it's got to start tonight. And there's a clear path to making a run now. You have this game tonight against Penn State. You're at Michigan on Saturday. That is a huge opportunity to go 2-0 this week. And I know they only have to worry about this game, but the point is, as fans, we could look at it. If you can go 2-0 this week, you finish the first half of the schedule 4-6, not great, not what you want, not a disaster. And then you're at Maryland on Tuesday. This is the first of 3 games in the next 7 days. Rutgers can really make a run here. Then you have Wisconsin at home after that. Not an easy game. But listen, Wisconsin's vulnerable on the road. Rutgers is going to play it tough. They're the best offensive team they have in the next 6 games. Then you have Northwestern at home, and then you're at Minnesota. Those are 6 games now in the next six games that, it's not impossible. All those games are winnable. I'm not saying they're going to win all of them, but if Rutgers can just start to build some confidence, cohesiveness on offense, if they can develop more of an identity, if Gavin can look for a shot, if Noah can look for a shot, these shots are going to start falling if they're taking them within purpose, within the flow of the offense. Again, they've done, at times they do, too many times they don't. Too many times they settle for long twos. That can't happen tonight. Penn State is vulnerable inside. They are not a good defensive team. This is an opportunity for Rutgers to get some flow going and some confidence going with their shot. And I really expect them to play well tonight. I think the RAC crowd will be there in full support. The RAC crowd has been tremendous all year, and this is a game that is for the taking. And Rutgers has to seize the moment and go out there and outplay Penn State, set the tone, physicality, in terms of just their mindset and playing together. The bench needs to give them a lift. Everyone's got to contribute in this game. Cliff, I think, can dominate in this game. This is just a game that Rutgers has every opportunity to take advantage of. If they play to their capabilities defensively, if they can rebound, and if they can limit turnovers, this is a game that they should win. And I'm just going to say, I could be wrong, of course, but I think that Gavin Griffiths is going to have a breakout game tonight. I think the looks he was getting against Purdue, he's going to have a little bit of a size advantage on the wing tonight. I think that if they can get him off of pin down screens, get him open looks, I think he's going to start to hit some shots. I think this is the game he breaks out. I think last game you started to see him playing with more confidence. He was smiling out there. I think this is the game he delivers in double digits, maybe a little bit of a heat check game for Gavin Griffiths. And I think this is a game that can really start something meaningful for Rutgers. I really do. It's not a pipe dream. It's based on their ability to defend, their ability to rebound. If they can just play smarter offensively, if they're able to get some guys back here, if Jeremiah Williams does get cleared at any time in the next week or two, that'll be a huge boost for this team. So let's see what happens. Excited about tonight. It's a great opportunity. And I'll be back with the full rapid reaction after the game. A late tip, 8:30 p.m. Drink that extra cup of coffee, and we'll see what happens. Thanks so much for listening once again.